Hello, guys. This is Jerry Learns Business, and we have here very special guest, Paige McKenzie, but you guys know her as the Haunting of the Sunshine Girl. So not only is she a YouTube star, she actually is a published author, and she's done a lot of other things. So let's learn about her content creation, her creative journey, her entrepreneurial journey. So Paige, welcome.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. That was like a really good introduction. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess I've been practicing.
Hey, look. Let's go. Hannah? Why do you guys open cupboards? You couldn't even be more original. Look out!
Tell me about what got you started. Did you get started writing, or was it YouTube, or was it kind of concurrent?
Yeah, so I actually started on YouTube in 2010, and I have two business partners. One is Nick Hagan, and the other is Mercedes Rose, who is my mom. Mm-hmm. And it was always strategic. We always planned that if we did this, this would happen, and this would happen, and then Hollywood would. Ideally, the end goal was that Hollywood would notice, and that sort of is the journey we took. But we took a little detour. And I was in 17 magazine. Cool. And from there, there were two pages, like you were just saying about TikTok, there were two pages, and she had a book deal about her real life, and her agent at the time found me and was like, you should write a book. And I was like, I don't know how to write a book. I don't know anything about writing a book. And she was like, do whatever you want. And so I made a nonfiction loosely based on the YouTube, and then the Weinstein Company bought it. And from there, I got into Hollywood. But, you know, all that happened and Weinstein went downhill. But yeah, so that's kind of the beginning.
Wow, that is fascinating. See, I didn't know about that. So, wow. That's fascinating. Now, how did the Weinstein Company approach you? Was it like, did they call you? Did they email you? How'd you get in touch with them?
Wrote my book. I had a co-author, and we wrote the book together, and then we went to sell it, and one of the publishing houses was Weinstein Books, and so they bought the novel, and we were like, Weinstein Books as in Weinstein, like film and TV Weinstein, and it was the same. So they have a book division, and their ladies there are unbelievable. They no longer exist, actually, but they were, for obvious reasons, but they were unbelievable. It was obviously my first novel, and they guided me through it like a champion, and I love them very much. So that was, yeah.
And when did you start seeing your YouTube take off? Because I remember seeing your YouTube videos quite a while. Even before I worked at ByteDance, I saw your videos for quite a while. So like, when did it start taking off?
I wouldn't say instantaneously. There's definitely some articles that have come out that's like, instantaneously she blew up. It was not instantaneous. But we, again, were very strategic. So we didn't tell anybody, like any of our close friends. We didn't want all the views to just be in Oregon. So we launched 3 videos when we started and let it out into the universe, and it slowly grew from there. And I think maybe like a year later, it was fairly popular. I don't know. I still don't think I'm popular, but who knows?
I see. I think a good question to ask now is, what is the day-to-day life of Paige McKenzie? Is it kind of like you spend 6 hours working, you spend 8 hours working, you spend 2 hours working? Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So YouTube is not amazing when it comes to finances. So I'm not living off of my YouTube money by any means. I do still live at home with my mom. I love it, but you know, people are a little judgy. But yeah, I spend a large portion of my day commenting, making content, doing YouTube, writing, social media of all kinds, that kind of thing. And then to quell my anxiety, I have an Etsy shop where I sell all the things I make to de-stress from day to day. And then I just have like a regular job too to help pay the bills. But yeah.
Wow. So you wear a lot of hats then.
You do, yes. It's been a weird year anyways, but yeah, I started at a restaurant, and so that's happening, and you know, it's very odd. It's a very weird time to be working in the public eye.
Yeah, I bet. Wow. Well, since we mentioned it, let's talk about this, man. So when all this stuff started happening, did you immediately make plans to kind of adapt, or were you kind of just playing it by ear a little bit?
When what happened?
Lady Rona, as people call it.
Oh, yeah. When it started, I hunkered down like everyone else, and actually had a lot of anxiety. So I made a lot of things and sold a lot of stuff on Etsy.
Nice.
And hunkered down. And now it didn't affect the book, Bewitch. It definitely is a weird time to be promoting a novel, to be like, my newest novel came out. There's like a good side, like everybody's at home and reading, but also a bad side, everyone's at home and saving as much money as possible.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to do my book tour, so that was kind of a bummer. But yeah, so it had its good and its bads. I'm not 100% against the quarantine. I vote you should stay home and do your thing, but yeah, so it's odd.
Wow. Wow. So, okay, let's talk about this newest book then. Is it the latest in a series, or is it a new series? Tell me about it.
Yeah, so it is the first in the series, Bewitch, and it's about modern day witches, teenage witches, and it's fantastic. I'm obsessed with it. I liked The Haunting of Sunshine Girl a lot. I did. I was really proud of it. I am like 1,000 times more proud of this. The characters literally live in my head all the time. And it's so fun to be writing something that's not me. Like Sunshine is 100% me. So anything I wrote, if it wasn't 100% genuine, it was hard to like in the novels, my publicist said we should make me adopted. So that was like really hard to like go against what, like, I'm not adopted. That's my real mom in the show. Like, that's my mom. So that was really hard to like do. So with this, I don't have any of that. Like, I can make everyone adopted. It's great.
Yeah. Wow. How long did it take you to write this Bewitched and this whole series?
Yeah. This one was maybe 6 months, possibly. And now I'm actually working on the second one. So
wow.
Yeah.
So it sounds like writing is just something that pretty naturally comes out of your head.
What's funniest about it is that the YouTube from day one has been unscripted. So we never write anything.
Wow.
One of my partners my business partner is a writer. So any writing that we did do, he did. And so it's very odd that like everything I make up on the YouTube, I say whatever I want within a storyline so that we keep that going. But we never wrote anything. And so it's such a strange transition to go to literally writing everything. So,
yeah, exactly. So when writing a book, is there any like areas that you have a little challenge on, like whether it's something like dialogue or plot or, describing things so people reading can see what goes on in your head kind of thing? Are there any, or is it all pretty easy?
I have a co-author again. So when it's really hard, I'm like, help me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But this was definitely, I would say, the easy part. So ergo, the hard part would be the opposite of this. The easy part was the characters. That came so like naturally to me. And like what they would wear and what they would say and what their tarot decks would look like and what their familiars are. And so all of that just like came very easily. Yeah, I would say red herrings are really hard for me because it's a mystery. So you can't just like give it all there and then. You have to have like, is it this? No. Is it this? No. So those are hard for me. And yeah, dialogue is kind of hard for me too.
I see. Yeah, I never thought about red herrings, but it's true. It's like if there's anything with a mystery or something like that, I'll tell you, I actually tried writing a horror novel back when I was in college, and I just like gave up like 60 pages in because like I guess what I was missing, I'm telling you the truth, Paige, what I was missing was red herrings.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize that's the way to make it keep going. You set things up that don't pay off, or you set things up that kind of like don't lead anywhere. Yes. I never thought about that. So
I know.
Like after 60 pages, I'm like, I'm just setting up things that are paying off, but it's like, where's this going?
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. That is definitely the hardest part for me, red herrings.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So, we're under this weird kind of society, weird economy right now. How are you promoting this latest book? Tell me about that.
Well, I was supposed to do a 3-city book tour, which I was very excited about. And of course, it got canceled. I didn't want to fly. My co-author didn't want to fly. Nobody really wanted us to fly. We were like, no, we're good. So yeah, a lot of YouTube videos. We're actually going to do a giveaway really soon of a signed copy, which is really exciting. And yeah, a lot of Instagram posts. It's really hard because normally I get to meet people.
Yeah.
I get to go on book tour. And so it's hard to promote right now. It's also just feels kind of like disingenuous, like being like, buy this book. Hope you don't have corona. So it's hard. It's really hard right now.
Yeah, it reminds me of I think it was Kimye, Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. Yeah. They had like a private island party, right? And everyone's making fun of them.
I know.
It seems so disingenuous.
Read the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. One thing I've been trying to do recently, because I got that one channel that has quite a following. I've been reaching out privately to my followers, and I've actually just had like daily conversations with my followers, and I don't know if you do that, but for me it actually is pretty cool. It like humanizes this experience because it gets to a certain point where it sucks, but I think to get to a certain place on YouTube with a certain following, you have to care about the numbers. But the problem is if you only care about the numbers, you lose your own humanity really quickly. So almost I have to thank this whole quarantine too. It forced me to kind of reach out to my viewers more. So I have like 50 viewers I can talk to on a daily basis. Not to say I do, because they would kill my mind. Nobody can balance all that. But if I can talk to them. So
yeah. That's amazing though. I mean, it's hard. It's a hard balance for sure. To keep it, especially since so much of my YouTube channel is my real life. It's very personal. It's very like, this is my real house. This is my real mom. It's hard. I really am celiac. So it's hard to like, where's that line? And so mine does come a lot with like the fan base. There's not constant communication, which is hard for me because I would love to do it, but
yeah. And I think this is a good segue to talk about sort of fan bases because, back when we first met officially, when I was working at ByteDance, I had 2 big channels, and then I eventually gave up on one of the channels exactly because of what you said. One of the channels, it was my name, and the fan base would recognize me, and I just got so uncomfortable with that.
It is.
And so how do you balance that? Because, I guess you started out as Sunshine Girl, but more and more people started knowing you as Paige. So like, how did that evolution happen? When did you decide, okay, let's reveal my real name and stuff like that? Tell me more about that.
So that is the number one thing. People are always like, oh, what's it like to have a YouTube channel? It's all fun and games until you use your real name. And at that point, it does. It becomes very stressful and a little scary, to be really honest. So I used Sunshine for quite a while. And then again, 17 magazine, they said I couldn't use a fake name in their magazine. So I revealed my real name, and it was terrifying. And I was 19, I think.
Wow.
Maybe 18, 20, somewhere in there. So that it's very scary. So, I mean, right now it's great because everyone's wearing a mask. So I haven't been recognized in ages. So that's awesome. But yes, being recognized is for me at least, I know a lot of people can handle it. For me, it's very stress inducing, and there's definitely a lot of interesting people out there who feel very close to you, even though we're not talking on a regular basis. I am just in my room. You're not also there. So it's, it's a fine line. Definitely. Yeah.
And I think it's almost like, especially, this isn't going to change, right? This is how technology and the future is. I think it's almost like schools need to teach people, okay, the people you follow, the people that appear on your screens, remember, you might know everything about them, but they don't know everything about you. So remember that information asymmetry. I'm using a pretty technical word, but that's really what it is. Remember information asymmetry. So you're not bonded to them like you're bonded to your friends. It's something that it's like it's no one's fault. It's not the fans' fault. It's not the creator's fault. It's just like a social thing that needs to be taught.
It does. That's so true. And it's so funny because I actually wrote an article about this. Especially young kids, but even grown adults will do things like send you their phone number on Instagram. And it's like, so I wrote the article about things you don't know that your kids tell me, like their phone number, their address, and they think that they are texting with you. Like I regularly get messages like, why aren't you texting me back? I'm on Instagram. I'm not texting you. Like I'm tweeting you. Like we're not, it's such a thing that does, and it needs to be taught and talked about because it's intense. Like I feel like when I was a kid, it was like, never tell anyone your phone number, never tell anyone, a stranger, your address. And now it's like, what's your Snapchat? Tell me where you live. Like, what's up? So it's terrifying. It's terrifying.
It used to be when I was really young, like I used to live in Chicago. The cops would come to our school and say, don't talk to strangers even, right?
Yes. I grew up in the 90s. So like 100%. That was like, don't talk to strangers. Don't tell anyone anything that is not like, oh yeah. And now you can find like everything on the internet. It is a weird time to be alive.
It is. And I think it's interesting because you got popular on YouTube kind of while YouTube was transitioning, right? The whole concept of a professional YouTuber kind of started while you were getting popular. So you kind of grew up in a way with YouTube, but like as a creator. So it's like a very interesting experience you have now. And I think every one of us YouTubers are seeing the other side of it, which is now it's like a lot of us are either throttled or kind of like, feeling the pinch in a different way that we never thought. The whole idea of the professional YouTuber in 5 years might not be there anymore. So it's like now we're experiencing that.
I know. It's so crazy. And like little kids being like, I want to grow up and be a YouTuber. Like that's what they want to be. Like when I was a kid, it was like, I want to be a ballerina or an astronaut. Like it's bananas to me. Like I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, wow, how times have changed. Yeah. And there's like a statistic. It's like 85% of the jobs that kids in kindergarten right now could have don't even exist yet. Yeah. So it's like, how can you say what I want to be when I grow up? It doesn't even exist yet. Yeah. So how can you, it's just crazy to me. It's just a weird time.
And it's interesting. I wanted to ask you this too. It sounds like your mom is really supportive of you. Was it always like that? Was it always like your mom was like, yeah, do whatever you want? Or did she have to be like led to your side once you got more popular? Tell me more about that.
My mom is everything. My mom is my best friend. She is phenomenal and always has been. And she raised me to be very strong and independent. And she was the driving force behind not releasing my name, which is great. It's something I didn't even think of, it didn't even occur to me really. And then it was like, oh, that's a brilliant idea. So yeah, we have a really close relationship, and it's probably closer because we've now worked together for 10 plus years on exclusively on this universe and project. And a lot, that's probably the question I get the most is, how do you work with your mom every day? But it's not, I know people have really, tumultuous relationships with their parents, but my mom is my best friend. Like we talked about moving, like me moving out by myself, and it was like, no, I'm fine. It's fine. I don't need to. So yeah, she's always been supportive.
Yeah. And I know one family that's like that. There's 4 kids and they still live at home. Yeah. So, it happens. I know it's sometimes considered rare, especially in Western culture, but it does happen even in Western culture. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. All of my closest friends, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, still live with their family and they're my age, 20s, late 20s, early 20s. So it's not as crazy anymore. It definitely is hard to go against like the societal, like I didn't go to college. And so like, that's really difficult because everyone's like, well, how are you going to make a living? Like, how are you going to buy a house at 22? Well, I'm not going to. And it's something I've like come to terms with, and that's cool. And, living with my mom isn't that bad. So
yeah. And
loves and supports me. So
I talk to people all the time who get stressed out about college, right? Yeah. I went to the college that our current president went to. So I went to a very prestigious college, and look what I ended up doing. So, you never know. Like I think Paige, you said something so great, which is 85% of the jobs that are available to our kindergartners aren't even created yet. That's the crazy thing. And like kids of the 90s, like us, we went through that transition. We started with, I didn't even have a TV because I was born in China. And then we had a computer by the time we were at elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time we were in middle school, high school, everyone had cell phones. And then it's smartphones when we were in college, man. We really like saw this craziness. But we also benefited from it because if we stayed entrepreneurial, we created careers like you and I did.
Yeah. It's very odd. And it's weird to know that so much is going to change and that it's good, but also like just crazy. I mean, like the generation under us is like changing the world, and it's like we changed it, but it was more like mild. It was a little more chill. We just you know, went against the going to college thing, or, you know, having kids at like 25. And so it's odd. It's just weird.
Yeah. And now a lot of the generation below us is like having classes through the screens, like how we're talking, man.
So weird.
Yeah. Wow. So another question that came to mind is, are you going to potentially explore more platforms, or, you know, because especially if you do books and stuff like that, are you going to look at other distribution models, / are you on sort of Kindle and all these other kind of like sites where people can read? Tell me more about that, being a book writer in this modern world, because, you know, nowadays everyone's self-publishing, and the old days of kind of just like having a hit on the New York Times bestseller. I think a lot of people don't really know where the book industry is. So that's something I think is really interesting to ask you too.
Yeah. It is. It's also like, you know how like everyone's like libraries are dying, and it's like, I still have a library. I have 2 libraries within like 20 miles of me. So I don't feel that, but who knows? Yes. The Haunting of Sunshine Girl trilogy is available on Kindle, and you can buy it at your local bookstore for the most part, or they can order it. It was available at Powell's and Barnes and Noble, and I saw it once at the airport stand, which is just insane to me. It was which is that's like a really cool books are there. So I don't know, that was crazy to me. Took a lot of pictures of that. But yeah, so I think Bewitch is available on Kindle. Yeah, it is. And then book 2 should be, and it's just you can really read books like everywhere. It's bananas. You can get them on like every platform. It's so crazy.
Yeah. And I just checked right now, and it is on under your name, Paige, because I was searching Bewitched and Paige, and Amazon didn't give it to me immediately. So I had to click on your Sunshine book series and then go into Paige, and then I saw Bewitched.
I think because it's and it has an asterisk in the middle is why. Yeah. I know it's tricky. It's so tricky, but it's such a fun title. So
yeah, that is. And it from an SEO perspective, I don't think there's any books that are titled like that. So as long as you tell people what to search for, they'll find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. What about your other business partner, Nick? You know, I interacted with him too back when I was at ByteDance. So tell me about him. How did you meet him / how do you guys work together, etc.?
Yeah. So back in 2010, when I was a young lass, my mom has always been an actress in Portland, where we're from. And her and Nick did some projects together. He was the director, writer, and she was an actress. And he kind of like had this crazy wild idea of like starting a YouTube channel. And he's like, well, what if we did like a reverse search? Like because that's a thing you can do on YouTube. And at the time, 2010, the number 2 most searched term on YouTube was ghosts.
Wow.
Yeah. The first was Lil Wayne. So I couldn't do a whole channel on Lil Wayne. So he kind of like came up with this concept of like a mother and a daughter and like a whole family, and they're hunted, and they have like a house and all this stuff. And he was like, Mercedes is really funny. She's really funny. I bet she knows someone or birthed someone who is also really funny. And so he actually contacted my mom, and he was like, I can't do a YouTube channel of ghosts as a bald 30-year-old man, because that's all they are, is bald 30-year-old men, especially in 2010. It was like all across the board, middle-aged men, 100%, which is not bad. Just saying. Very different to be a teenage girl ghost hunter. So yeah, we actually met at a coffee shop. I remember it like it was yesterday. And we were brainstorming character names, and he was like, how about Chloe? And I was like, ugh, hate the name Chloe, which is, again, nothing against the name Chloe, but that was like the first thing I said was like, I hate the name Chloe. And he was like, oh, that's my daughter's name.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, love the name Chloe. Let's do it. So we ended up not going with Chloe, but yeah, I immediately offended him. And yep, then then we all got together and scratched a whole bunch of stuff and got rid of like, there was going to be a dad and an extra kid, and we got rid of all that. And we just decided to do like a mother-daughter, and then we didn't script anything. And yeah, so it's a team effort.
Wow.
It takes all three of us.
Yeah, it takes all three of you. And are you going to potentially, besides the book and the YouTube, do you have any other channel ideas or potential channel ideas? Because, like that's how my mind works as a YouTuber. When I was at ByteDance, I kind of was developing the second channel that now becomes my main channel. And even then I was developing other channels, and it's just like, I'm always thinking of creating new channels or even going on new platforms. Tell me about that process. Do you have any other things in the works?
I have like a million ideas, not even necessarily for channels, like just ideas. And then you put Mercedes, me, and Nick in a room together, and we can knock out a solid idea with very fleshed out characters and the pilot episode or the main part of the film script or whatever in like 40 minutes. Like it's unreal. And to be honest, they're like stellar ideas. So we have like 15 of them that we're ready to like, we just need Hollywood to come and knock in and be like, I see. Tell me all your ideas. Okay, we gotcha. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting too, talking about that, because Hollywood probably has permanently changed too under this current thing society's going through. So who knows what's going to happen next year in 2 years?
It's so bananas. And we've gotten, I can't name names, but we've gotten like phone calls and stuff, and like everybody's changing direction. Everybody is like coming up with different ideas and different like ways of releasing stuff. And I mean, just like not that long ago, people started releasing stuff on Apple TV or Amazon. Like, isn't that crazy that we lived through that?
Yeah.
It's because it seems so normal now, but like Apple did not have TV shows. Not that long ago.
Yeah. I distinctly remember 2018, I was at one of those entertainment networking places that, happen all the time in LA. And I was talking to two people. They're like, we're not on YouTube. We're not on Facebook, but we took part in this like pilot for Apple TV. And I was like, what? Apple's creating? They're trying to be Netflix too now. Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, everything has one. Like chip brands have like TVs now. I mean, like it's so, like channels. It's just insane to me.
Yeah,
everything has a channel.
So I think
you're missing out
with the trend that society and the entertainment industry is going. The way that you, Nick, and Mercedes have this, you guys have a lot of kind of head start, because you guys are kind of. You guys know the distribution, right? The physical and the online. So it actually would make sense for Hollywood to really trust you guys, because you guys know what you're doing.
Yeah. We're waiting for the day when an article gets released that says the overnight sensation, Coattail Productions, because that's what the three of us are called, Coattails. And we're waiting for like the overnight success. It's been 10 years. It's not an overnight success, but that's so sweet of you. You know what I mean? Like that's just exactly what's going to happen. Cause it's like, if you don't have like a very distinct, like we're not the Kardashians, you know what I mean? Like we don't have like that name brand recognition. You're automatically like overnight sensation. Yeah. So it's so strange.
Yeah. And I think what's really interesting, that's something else to really talk about too, for anyone that's sort of in this online sphere, is that the online audience has a very, very short-term memory. And I'm speaking it as a consumer too. Like, for example, to tell you the truth, Paige, I maybe only remember 3 of the videos I've seen of yours, so I don't blame consumers for also only remembering like 1 or 2 videos that I made, but that's just how the mind works when it comes to online content.
Yes, it's crazy. And like, it's so funny, like, cause I've been on YouTube now for 10 years, to see that it's like, when I first started, it was like, we want short content. We want as short as possible. Short, like 30 seconds is going to do really well. And now it's like, they want long content. Yeah. And I'm like, if somebody sent me a 17-minute video via email, I don't have the patience to watch that. Like, I really wouldn't. Like, I just can't. Like, unless it was someone I really care about or someone I'm really interested in, or someone was like, you're going to really love this. I couldn't. Yeah. Like, that's too long. And I'm not even that millennial. Yeah. So, I mean, like, my attention span is like TikTok length, and it's ruined my life, but also.
Yeah. And I think seeing how the type of content evolved on YouTube, that's probably why, for example, the podcast type content or like the rant type content or even the news type content, to give it credit, as much as I think YouTube's promoting it too much, but like to give it credit, that's why that stuff started trending, because if they're favoring stuff that's longer so they can run more ads, then they're going to favor stuff that people can kind of like put on the side, you know, while they do work and while they drive. And for content like yours or even some of the content I create, it's like you got to pay attention to the screen. You can't just like put it on the side, right? So
no, you can't watch my videos while like cooking dinner. Like it just, you miss so much. So it's like, it's just, it's weird.
So yeah, it's so cool. I think I'm going to title this like a heart to heart with Paige, because I was actually expecting this to be more like an interview, kind of like, oh, this is your, like, this is, but it's actually cool. We're kind of like really reflecting on revealing some of our challenges. And like,
I like my interviews to be weird. So good. I'm glad.
Does Mercedes want to show up on screen real quickly? Since I don't know if she's in the room, but we could say hi to her real quick.
She just shook her head no.
Oh, she said okay.
Yeah. She is a cutie, but she doesn't think she looks very good. So.
Yeah, I think she looks good from what I remember. I mean, mother and daughter, right? Gotta get the look somewhere. So, Paige, I wanted to ask you this because you mentioned you're in Portland. And your mom's an actress and something, and your business partner, Nick, also did stuff. How big is the entertainment industry in Portland? Because I've never really heard about Portland being kind of a hub for artists, but it looks like it is then.
Yeah, it definitely has come in waves. We have TV shows, like we had Grimm for a very long time, and so that all filmed in Portland. And so obviously that hires a lot of actresses and actors, guest stars every week, and so we had Grimm for a long time, and then that show ended. So it comes in waves. Sometimes we get films, and then it goes. But there's a pretty constant film and TV and art and music scene. It's just a little more low to the ground, you know? It's a little more secretive.
I see. Well, we know now that there's the Sunshine Girl. I mean, the funny thing about most cities, even with cities that might not necessarily have a big like established media presence, is that there's always some big YouTuber there. Like, it's amazing when you look at where the YouTubers are. There's like some YouTuber in like Virginia, some YouTuber in Florida, some YouTuber in Alabama, right? That's the
I'm the big YouTuber of Alabama. Can you imagine being that? Like that would be like, I'm definitely, I don't know, am I the big YouTuber of Oregon?
I think you probably are then. I think you're probably the big YouTuber of Oregon. Most people don't even know you're in Oregon. So
I know, exactly. Ooh, I'm gonna have to. Do you think there's a way to Google that? I should find out.
I think there is a way. Yeah.
Who's the biggest YouTuber of Oregon?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see.
Yeah, because I live in LA. I mean, viewers know I live in LA. So LA has a lot of big YouTubers. Right? But like, for example, 2018, I went back home for a little bit. So I was in the DC area, and I'm pretty sure, besides all the political channels, like channels that didn't do any politics and stuff, I was probably the biggest channel for a while. So, so that was pretty fun to like slightly gloat a little bit, like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? And then it's like, nope, this is unhealthy. I got to keep growing. So I came back to LA. But that month when I was home, it was pretty cool. I like did a lot of meetups with like viewers and stuff. But like we talked about before, that stuff quickly gets old, and the sun's getting in my eye. Oh, I wish I could turn the screen. I live right by the beach, so sunset time, you can see the water.
Ooh, fun. I don't live by the beach. It says that Zach King is the most popular YouTuber of Oregon, and then Peter Hollins.
I know Zach King. He's the magician special effects dude.
Oh, yeah.
Peter Hollins. Never heard of that guy.
Nope, me either.
Wow. Well, I guess. Oh, okay. He's like that entrepreneur channel kind of thing. Interesting.
Who knows? That's okay. I don't need to be the top YouTuber. Radio, J.H. Audrey, Summer McKeen, and Mariah Folkerts are the top 5.
Wow.
I'm probably top 6.
Yeah, exactly. Top 6. Yeah. And the thing is, now we have people that you can collaborate with.
Yeah. So, and collaborations are odd. They're so strange. Yeah. They're like stressful but fun because you have like a lot in common, because you're like, we have this fundamental like anxiety surrounding YouTube, but also like it's very odd to be like, hey, do you want to make something together? You know?
Yeah. And from what I found, like I love collaborating with people, but if you collaborate with people and it doesn't get the views, I think it hurts both your channels.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and
it's like,
and you just feel like such a bummer. You're like,
yeah.
we spent all that time and we thought we were so cool, and then it didn't.
Yeah, exactly. So this goes out to anyone who watches this. If you do reach out to someone, they don't collaborate with you, sometimes it's not like they don't like your stuff. It's just they have to think about the YouTube machine, you know, and what it wants.
YouTube monster, what it wants to be fed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, YouTube monster, but we're gonna tackle it. And Paige got her new book coming out, Bewitched.
Yeah.
Paige, this book, you're gonna do a giveaway on your channel, right? Like a giveaway of a signed copy. When are you gonna announce that potentially?
I'm looking at my mom. Hold on.
Okay. We want to see. Show us Mercedes.
We're waiting to hear from the publisher. So, because it's going to, this one at least, I'll probably do one on the YouTube too, but this one is going to be through Goodreads, which is really fun. So, yeah, but I'll announce it on the YouTube too. But yeah, if you want to do a giveaway through your channel, we can totally do that or not. Don't feel free.
I'll get back to you on that. But yeah, that could be interesting. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So guys, I think this is a good stopping point, but we should also bring Paige back because of course the book's going to come out, and also she's got a sequel to the book. Of course, it's a series, so we should bring her back. And I'm sure by next year, my understanding of everything, not just YouTube, but like of the entrepreneurial life, of the creative life, is going to change, and Paige's is going to too. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and then Halloween is coming up, and obviously I'm a horror-based channel, so lots of creepy things coming for Halloween, and stuff to look forward to. So
cool.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, guys, this was Paige McKenzie from Haunting of the Sunshine Girl.
What is that?
What is that?
What is that?
What is it? What?
Oh, babe, not so close.